Growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Congrats, your business is doing great. All your hard work is paying off, but you need help like now, and you have to hire fast. How can you hire amazing candidates quickly? Easy, just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. And with sponsored jobs, your posts jump to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. One of the things I love most about Indeed is that it has one of the largest databases of job seekers, giving employers access to a wide range of candidates. And with job alerts, I get notified when new candidates apply. And with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. So how fast? Well, in the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support a show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. You spent months building towards launch day, but when the clock hits 0, your site crashes. Bots swarm, and loyal fans rage on Reddit. That's not good. Fanfare was built to stop that. Fanfare is the drop platform made for high-pressure moments, stampede-proof infrastructure, verified waitlists, and bot filters that actually work. Instead of refunds and rage, you get retention and revenue. And that sounds great to me. Your next launch shouldn't be a gamble. Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook and learn how to bulletproof your drop at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, that's fanfare.io/playbook. This is a Smart Passive Income podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 74. This is literally the first time I've had an in-house guest.
You do mean literally, don't you?
No, literally.
No, literally.
Literally.
It's 3 syllables, literally.
Literally. 4.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host, who plays with his son's toys more than he does, Pat Flynn.
While DIY website tools are everywhere, most fall short on design and performance. Hit publish. Framer ships your site worldwide in seconds. No code, no compromises. Framer is a powerful, user-friendly platform that delivers developer-level results without writing a single line of code. Make your designs move and convert with Framer. Framer brings your site to life with powerful animations, dynamic content handling, and a design-first approach that helps your site stand out. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. Browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something of your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, scroll and looping animations, and much more in seconds. And it's free to start. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting of generating starter layouts and can even translate your entire site to any language. On the back end, you'll get responsive breakpoints, built-in hosting, a flexible CMS, and privacy-friendly analytics. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. With running your own business, legal questions always come with the territory. Like, can I use this contract or agreement? What do I do if a client doesn't pay? Am I even structured the right way for taxes? Instead of Googling your way through legal landmines, imagine having a law firm ready to address your business's legal needs without the sticker shock. That's what you get with Legal Shield's small business plans. Legal Shield helps entrepreneurs access real legal help on contract reviews, collection letters, business formation guidance, and even help navigating IRS audits. Members can schedule consultations, upload documents through the app, and get support from a provider law firm that knows small business laws in your state. Plus, consultations on taxes or trademarks help you stay ahead of potential problems. And if a client is late on a payment, Legal Shield steps in with professional collection letters so you can protect your hard-earned revenue, all for a fraction of the price of hiring a lawyer on your own. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI. Hey, what's up? This is Pat Flynn, and welcome. Thank you so much for being here, and we are not alone. We are here with a really, really good friend of mine who is right here sitting next to me in my office. You may have heard him in the intro. Actually, I'm sure you did. He is my brother from another mother, Chris Ducker from chrisducker.com. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Chris is here in the U.S. from the Philippines on, I don't know, what are you doing here?
I'm on a mission of mercy. To bring a little bit of the British clout to America. No, I'm yes, business. We were in town for Portland for Chris Guillebeau's World Domination Summit.
Yep.
And then we came down here. We did our one-day business breakthrough, which I guess we're going to talk about in a little while.
We will.
And after this, I'm doing some masterminds in LA and New York, and then I'm speaking at the National Speakers Association conference in Philadelphia.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And what we should talk about really quick, maybe just a brief overview of what we're going to talk about. I know people will probably want to know about what the whole literally thing is about.
Literally.
Yeah. That was just a big running joke between us recently, just the differences between how British people say stuff and how people in the U.S. say stuff. And I don't know, it just became a running joke.
Yeah, it's like, I say aluminium, you say
aluminum.
I say tomato, you say
tomato.
It's ridiculous.
No, you're ridiculous. No, as you can tell, Chris and I are really, really good friends, and I think that this is really going to tie into what we're talking about today. The importance of relationships on many different levels. You have the relationship that you have as a blogger, as a business owner, with your audience, your customers, your subscribers, right? And then you have the relationship that you have with other people in your industry, and those are really important. But then beyond that, there's the relationship you have with people in perhaps mastermind groups, people who have the same values as you, who, you're working together and you're going to be there for each other and hold each other accountable. But even beyond the mastermind level, there's that sort of top level, really personal, I don't know. We were trying to figure out a term for this. I want to call it, your BFF, right? Your business friend forever.
Right.
But that's kind of corny.
Yeah. And yeah, it is. It doesn't sound right. I mean, people have actually said that we have a bromance. Do you know that?
I know that, and don't look at me like that. What do you?
But no, I mean, but you're right. I mean, and it's something. It's something more than just business. It's also personal, but it's also about being there for each other and almost holding each other accountable. Being that sounding board when you need it with ideas. I mean, how many hours do you think we've spent on Skype in the last 3 years just brainstorming stuff? I mean,
hundreds, I would think.
It's got to be close to it. Yeah.
I mean, we chat with each other every week, just to check in. And I do the same thing with my mastermind group, but it's just different when it's one-on-one with my buddy,
right.
and who I know is going to be 100% honest with me, who's going to look out for me because he cares about me and my family, and I do about him and his too. And there are a few people who I have this sort of kind of relationship with online, and each and every one of those is so important to the success of my business and where I'm going and keeping me going down the right path. And I think of other successful people out there. I mean, they all seem to have that one or two people that, they just go together. Like I'm thinking of Michael Hyatt and Ken Davis. I mean,
right.
I met them both at the platform conference, and you could tell they were buddies and they were joking with each other, but that they were also going to be there for each other always and help support each other throughout business. I'm also thinking of JD Roth from Get Rich Slowly, and also Trent Ham from Simple Dollar. They both started their personal finance blogs at the same time around the mid 2000s, and they both sort of rose to the top together in that industry, and they would always link to each other. And I'm sure they had, a really, really deep relationship beyond just, the industry sort of comrades, and even beyond mastermind level.
And I think, it also is important to understand with this kind of relationship is you don't both have to be in the same industry. You don't have to be in the same bed of roses. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because we're not. I mean, I'm very much a B2B kind of guy, definitely, an off the internet sort of guy before. Not so much nowadays. I'm more active online now. But a lot of the reason why I am more active online now is because of you and the relationship that, we've, built up over the last few years. But, very brick and mortar business owner, 3 different businesses, whereas you're the guy, you're the online dude. And it's, I think, we both bring different kind of parameters to that relationship in regards to our backgrounds and our experiences. And that's something we can also bounce off of each other as well. And it's important to have that kind of that difference, right?
Yeah, definitely. And thinking about some of the conversations we've had in the past, I mean, we've talked about things from what we thought about the name of a certain product we were going to come out with to what direction we should take in our business, or we just understand that when we ask each other a question that we're going to be completely honest and blunt with each other, but at the same time, it just keeps it fun too.
Yeah, I mean, we both come up with some pretty bad ideas, and we've both shot them down like immediately.
Yeah,
like dude, what are you thinking of?
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, but we just literally. I'm going to say the words.
Okay, if you want.
Literally, we had our one-day business breakthrough here in San Diego just yesterday, 24 hours ago, and that was something that came out of you and I just wanting to do something together. We didn't know what exactly.
Yeah.
And somebody asked me yesterday, actually, one of the attendees asked me, why a live event? Why did you do this? And I didn't have sort of a preconceived a predetermined answer for that question. But it came to me very naturally when I said that doing something online together, like a product or something like that, didn't feel right for me and for our relationship. And I didn't even really realize that until I was asked that question. What do you think about that? I'm curious because I haven't even discussed this with you.
No, we haven't actually, and this is a really interesting question. I mean, there's just something about meeting people in person,
right?
And being able to shake their hand and look into their eyes, and when you're asking them a question or they're asking you a question, and give them a true and real answer. I mean, we always talk about how close to real life doing a live webinar is. You can actually have that live interaction with people, or video even, because you're actually seeing people's faces and you can hear their voice again on video or on a podcast. And those are great ways to build relationships, to deliver a message, to interact with people. But there's just nothing like doing something in person.
Right.
And that's why I always recommend to go to conferences. I mean, and put yourself in the environment that you're in, or that you want to be in, in your industry. I mean, and it was hard because I started to go to conferences kind of late in my blogging career, 3 years after I started, 2 or 3 years after I started. And I would wish I had done it sooner, because the moment I stepped into a convention, the first one I went to was Blog World Expo, which is now New Media Expo. I was just surrounded by all these incredible people on the same level as me, way above me, and even below me. And it was just the relationships that you build, not just in the in the business setting, but outside of the business setting, when we're having drinks or sitting down for dinner and just having a chat. I mean, that's the stuff you can't get in a webinar or in a podcast or in a video. Just the after hours type stuff.
Yeah, I agree, absolutely. And that conference actually was the first time you and I met face to face, right?
Yeah.
And we'd known each other online for about 7 or 8 months or something before then. And then we met face to face, and I kid you not, the guys and girls tuning in right now, we saw each other, and this sound like, sort of Gone with the Wind sort of stuff, but we saw each other
What are you going to say?
From a distance, and there was that instant, there's Pat, oh, there's Chris, and we just went up with, and...
Because we knew what each other looked like.
Right, exactly. We'd Skyped
it's hard to miss...
That.
I'm not going to say it right now.
Say the words, man. It's hard to miss what?
Your bright, shiny head.
Yes. But But let me say though, I mean, there was no sort of shaking hands. There was a hug right there, like right out of the gate.
Yeah,
and I guess,
and that's something important to think about too. Just the kinds of relationships you can build before you even meet in person.
Right.
And if you're an introvert, if you're afraid to go out there and put yourself out there where you're actually talking and conversing with people, you're doing yourself a disservice, or you're making it really hard on yourself to build these relationships, which will help you succeed and make you feel better as a person. I mean, a lot of my best friends now are people who I originally met online.
Yeah,
like you, Chris.
Yeah, likewise as well. So let's talk about yesterday a little bit.
Sure. You said one day business breakthrough. A lot of people listening might not know what that is.
Yeah.
And like Chris was saying, we both just have been talking forever, and we've always wanted to do something together. I learned that Chris was going to come to San Diego after World Domination Summit here in July, and we were like, let's do something. And we were like, okay, well, what are we going to do?
And it started like huge, remember?
Oh,
we were saying, get 250 people and rent a huge conference room and
20 guest speakers.
Yeah. We realized then that we needed more than 4 months to prepare for something like that.
Right.
It didn't take too long to shoot down that idea.
No, but it's great to think big, and it might go there eventually. But thinking about the sort of lean startup model and starting small and just testing. I mean, I knew that we were going to work well together, but when we actually would do something together, I mean, it's good that we tested sort of a small environment first.
Yeah, I agree.
Just to really see what it would be like.
And there's something to be said for that small environment. I mean, this entire episode is about, having those relationships that can further your entrepreneurial growth.
The close relationships.
Correct, exactly. And I think it's important that, you get out there as a entrepreneur or even a one-preneur, even if you haven't broken away from the shackles of 9 to 5 yet, and you're still sort of wanting to start and go out there, it's just as important to find that person, that one person that you can connect yourself with, and bar anything really horrible happening in the relationship, you'll just be connected with each other for a long time to make sure that both of you become successible. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Regardless of how that actually happens, it doesn't matter. I mean, one of you could be successful online, the other could be successful, opening up a ton of franchises. It really doesn't matter.
Right.
But it's just holding each other accountable and stuff like that. And yesterday, we had 25 fellow entrepreneurs at Co-Merge with us here in San Diego.
Yeah, it's a co-working space.
Yeah, which was great.
Yeah, shout out to Co-Merge if you're listening. We're definitely going to use that venue again if we do this in San Diego again.
Without a doubt.
But we got 25 people in a room, Chris and I at the front, just leading this mega mastermind group. And, it wasn't a Pat and Chris show all day. And in fact, a lot of the best information that came out of the day was from the attendees. So the way the format worked, and if you wanted to hold your own event, this format worked really well for us. So, feel free to take it and use it for yourself too. If you're in an industry where this might be possible for you. Chris and I led the conversation. We started the day at 9:00, just with a brief, sort of getting people fired up and what the day was going to be about. And then we went to every person individually, one by one, for 15 minutes each. And we had them just do a 1-minute sort of elevator pitch to everybody else about what their business was about and what they were trying to accomplish. And that was a great exercise.
Right.
Because, there wasn't very much time to present. And we had done I think we did a good job of sort of prepping people beforehand and getting people to know each other before the event happened. The event was on July 12th, but the interactions happened for a month or two, even
couple
beforehand.
Of months, yeah, exactly.
What I did actually, and this is a great tip for those of you who are holding these small community events. A lot of people start these Facebook groups, which are, those are great. But I wanted to sort of get the interaction to be a little bit deeper, and to on a Facebook group, it's hard to keep track of everything people post. So I created a Ning group, a Ning sort of social network for One Day Business Breakthrough attendees. And I'd send them a link and they'd sign up for their profile. And actually, I, as the sort of creator of this Ning site, I could have people fill out their profile questions. So they filled out their name, where they're from. I asked them to share a little cool like what your hobbies were, what your interests were, and then it was, what's the business that you want to talk about, what's the URL so it's easily clickable when people view their profile, and questions like, what are you struggling with most? What do you want to get out of One Day Business Breakthrough? And like in a perfect world, what would you walk away with?
Yeah, I think that last question was the most useful for us as the organizers of the event, because we already knew prior to the event exactly what each of the attendees wanted to achieve by the end of the day.
Right.
So we were able to, and let's backtrack. After that 1 minute intro, that elevator pitch that they gave us once their turn arrived, their website had already been pulled up on the large screen. So everybody in the room could see what their business looked like online, which was really helpful.
Super helpful.
And it really helped create that conversation flow as well. But we already had our notes on every single attendee already written down. We're only talking like 5 or 6 bullet points because we didn't want to, sort of, have a monopoly on the entire time. We wanted the group, we wanted the room to come up with lots of different ideas, because nobody's got a monopoly on good ideas, right? So, and it just works so well.
Oh my gosh, there was so everybody contributed to everybody else's success. Like, I think you should do this, or somebody would have an idea and be, what do you guys think of that? And everyone would be like, yeah, totally behind it, or they'd be like, maybe not. And you get that immediate feedback on these ideas that people were throwing out with, or the ideas that you and I had, Chris, and it was just instant, and everybody's face lit up, and we're just so excited about the sort of these breakthroughs that people were having.
Well, that was the whole thing. The whole thing was to have that at least one big breakthrough by the end of the day. And I know that we as the organizers helped them achieve that. There was no doubt about it. Do you remember the one, I can't remember who exactly it was now. It was like, do you think I should stop doing that? And the entire room just screamed, yeah!
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it was like an absolutely unanimous decision that they were utterly wasting their time on this one activity that they were doing. And they were like, okay, well, if you say so, kind of thing. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so cool to have 25 other people do that just right then and there, and to get that immediate feedback. And we're not trying to pitch One Day Business Breakthrough right now. I mean, I think we're just pitching the idea of the importance of having other people out there to sort of help you and guide you along the way.
Yeah.
And this may be something we do again in the future, and if we do, it would be great. But I hope those of you who are listening can take away just how important it is to share your ideas with other people and to get that feedback, and to not be afraid to get it, because it's only going to help you, whether it's good or bad. It's going to help you.
I agree.
Talking about the Ning site again, I think just to reiterate how important that was, not only did it help us understand exactly who was attending, sort of get us to know who they were beforehand. They put their profile pictures on there. So immediately when we saw them for the first time, we'd be like, hey, what's up, Gary? Like, I knew it was Gary because we'd seen his profile picture. I mean, it was only 25 people, so it was really easy to sort of recognize them and call them by name right away, which I think helped them feel more comfortable, right off the bat. But the Ning site was just great because when I actually, we required the attendees to include a blog post which shared more information about their business and their goals. And what ended up happening was all the other attendees would get notified when new people joined, and when they wrote these sort of blog posts, they answered these questions, and everybody had everybody else in the group respond and say, wow, that's such a good idea, or I can't wait to go to the Business Breakthrough and dive into your site even more, because I think I can learn so much from you. And speaking of that, like I talked to a few people during the lunch breaks who hadn't had their business, in the hot seat yet, who were like, I've already learned so much from reviewing these other people's sites. I've gotten so many good ideas, and I hadn't even gone up yet. Right. And that was the beauty of it, I think.
And there were several things that were a recurring, a recurring point.
Oh yeah,
that we wanted to bring up, right? So it just goes to show you that there are running a business online is not as easy as a lot of people think that it actually is. And you're a big believer that you got to work hard, you got to put in, and me too. I mean, if you don't hustle, you're not going to get anything. Yeah. I mean, plain and simple. So, but there were at least 2 or 3 things that were evident over and over and over again, such as either a lack of an opt-in magnet or an opt-in form.
Yeah.
Or, there was another one where, sign up for updates kind of thing. These were the sort of things that we were seeing all the time. Well, tell me why I should sign up for updates. Like, what are you actually going to give me for me giving you the most important piece of information in the world for me, which is my email address.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that was funny. I think maybe 75% of the businesses that showed up, needed help with their opt-in form. I mean, we all want higher conversions, of course, and most people weren't really doing a good job of really enticing people to sign up for those lists. And you don't have to give away necessarily an ebook or a course. I mean, that's a great way to get people into your email list, but you can give just updates, but you still have to tell people why those updates are important.
Right.
And the example we brought up was, for instance, Derek Halpern's site, socialtriggers.com. He doesn't give away a lead magnet or an ebook, but the way he phrases what you're going to get when you get those updates is really good. So check out that site if you want. If you don't necessarily have a lead magnet yet for your email list. A few people didn't have an opt-in form at all, or weren't building an email list, and some people were doing it correctly. I mean, it was cool because there were so many people on different levels.
Right. I was just about to say, it was like there were some people that were absolutely crushing it, like financially. They were making over $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
And then there's some guys who were just starting out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that diversity.
Yeah. And the people who were crushing it still got a lot out of it because you get 24 other people's perspectives on things and these ideas that would have, that you could never think of on your own. So, which was really cool.
The other thing that came out quite a bit was that people's about pages were truly about them rather than about the resource and why people should be reading that page in the first place, or why they should, come back or subscribe or whatever. It's kind of, attached to the whole opt-in subscribe thing. But, there was a lot of stuff, welcome to my site. I am XYZ. I do blah, 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 blah. But I'm not interested in that. I need to know what's in it for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's in it for your reader first.
Yeah.
And then qualify yourself after.
Yeah. You got to tell your story.
Yeah.
Everybody loves a story, but I also want to be convinced as to why I should stick around in the first place.
Right. Another recurring theme that happened, and hopefully this is useful to those of you listening, because you might have these same sort of, sort of dilemmas at first, and you can sort of take action from here, was the fact that a lot of people's websites didn't portray the sort of core message of that website immediately. There was something on the site that mentioned it, maybe on the about page or down below, but a lot of the sites, you didn't really understand exactly what they were about right off the bat.
Right.
And that is so important, especially nowadays when people they spend 5 seconds on a site, and if it's not what they want right away, or if they don't know it's what they want, they're going to leave.
Yeah, I mean, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
No,
never.
No, that's just no.
Literally.
Okay, let's not start that.
No, but you don't. And, I think it's important that, when you're in the process of developing your brand or wanting to build out, your online home for your business, that you take this stuff into consideration. It's not just about how great you are and how amazing your widget or your project or your service is. It truly is about the people that are visiting your site and wanting to do business with you. The focus should be on them.
Right.
Definitely.
I mean, so some examples of, it's just a lot of people just need to work on their tagline too. And we actually did a couple brainstorming sessions with people that was the major issue. And the whole group was just throwing out ideas and words. And
we couldn't write fast enough, right?
No, yeah.
On the whiteboards. It was great. And I think, that's, getting back to the core message of this is that the other thing was, not only did I see relationships beginning to be formed right there in that room as the event was going on throughout the course of the day, after that we had some cocktails and then we had dinner, and you could see the same people that were sat next to each other or close by each other during the day had chosen to sit next to each other at dinner. I don't know whether you noticed that.
No, I did.
But I certainly did. And it was great to see those relationships then starting to form. And I was not that I was eavesdropping, but I was overhearing people like, oh, yeah, let's get on the Skype next week and do this and do that.
Cool.
Oh, my God. Awesome stuff, right? And it just goes to show you, it's just a day. It's one day out of many going forward. And you can't put a dollar amount on having that kind of relationship come out of an event like that.
No, seriously. I mean, really, this day could, and I think it will, change a lot of those people's lives. may not seem like it right away, but over time, especially from these relationships that have been built. And I was overhearing some of the same stuff, and I saw a lot of people who were in similar industries talking with each other and helping each other out, or people who had there was a couple people who were good at selling and pitching, and there were other people who weren't good at that, and that was their issue, who were great at building software and things like that, and they were working together. Just incredible.
There was a young guy there also that, and we're not going to turn this into like a full-blown review of everybody that was there, but just to show you the diversity of these kind of groups. There was another young guy there that was scared to ask for people's money. Like, he was providing a really good service in regards to web marketing, but he was scared to actually ask for people's money. And when he did, and they said, well, no, can't you do it for free, or can't you give me a crazy discount? And he'd just say, well, yeah, okay, no problem. That's a problem, because once you start discounting your services like that, you're beginning a very slippery slope. You really are. And I kind of kicked his butt a little bit, right? And I said, no, you got to stop doing stuff for free, because the moment you do that in the first place, people are going to start expecting it.
Right. I mean, that was a big theme, I think, for the day, was a lot of people trying to decipher what to give away for free versus what to actually charge for. And I did see that a lot, not just with that person that I know you're talking about, but with a few people who were just having a hard time wanting to sell something. And when you have something that can change somebody's life or add value to somebody, you have to know that it's worth something and worth charging for.
Absolutely.
You'd actually be doing yourself a disservice. And I don't know where I was going with that.
I'm curious to know, what was the biggest takeaway for you from the event as one of the co-organizers?
I think the biggest takeaway for me was just how great it was. I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, I don't. This is a huge question,
and I didn't tell you I was going to ask you it.
No, thank you. No. I mean, I think the biggest takeaway for me was, we put a lot of time and effort into this. It wasn't sort of a thrown together type of thing in a day.
Right.
We spent a couple months working on this, and I really wanted to make sure everything went well, that the attendees got all they wanted out of it. First of all, I just want to give a quick shout out to Jared Easley, who volunteered his time to help.
Rockstar.
Dude, he found the locations, he set up the dinner, he got the lunch together for us. I mean, without Jared, this definitely wouldn't have happened. So thank you, Jared, if you're listening to this. But I mean, going back to the sort of big thing that I picked up during the day was just, how like these breakthroughs that the attendees had and the relationships that they're building, it wouldn't have happened if we didn't put in all this work.
Right.
And to me, that just is so fulfilling. And I feel like if we didn't do this, like maybe, I don't know, I think we really helped people really change their lives yesterday. And not to sort of sound big-headed or anything, but without us putting in this work, that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
And it was really interesting because after the event, and this always weirds me out when people come up and ask me to take a picture with them, like I'm never going to get used to that. It's always weird. But I mean, you and I took 25 photos with all the attendees.
Yeah, I actually felt like Tom Cruise just for a brief second. I don't know about you, but it was like, who asked for... we had 25 photos, one after the other. We didn't move. We just stood in the same spot, right?
Yeah.
Amazingly gratifying.
Oh, absolutely. And this sort of reminds me of of something that Noah Kagan said in episode 71 of the Smart Passive Income podcast. I mean, he was for a while doing this whole thing where he was just doing conference after conference after conference. And, when you set up these types of things, you're bringing people together. And when you are the person that is organizing these types of things where people can come together, you sort of become the center of it, just as a result of bringing these people together.
Right.
I think that's sort of what happened here. And we already have a ton of people who are like, when's the next one?
Way more than I even anticipated.
Oh, I wasn't even sure if this was just going to be the only time we did this, but I think because there's just so much interest now, and because it was so gratifying for me, I don't know I'm sure it was for you too.
Absolutely. Well, look, let's not beat around the bush. We put it on initially because we wanted to do something together, but it very, very quickly became less and less and less about us and more and more about the people that were going to be there. And when you've got all these additional people, sending us emails and tweets and Facebook messages and all this was when's the next one? I want to go to the next one. I mean, it's hard not to say we should do this again sometime,
Right. And, this was a big sort of scary thing for me to do. I mean, to get 25 people to fly in. I mean, some from the UK actually flew in to San Diego.
I needed some British support. That's what it was.
Yeah, you got a little bit. They made me say aluminum actually, and made fun of me.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a scary thing for me to do, and I think, and I say this all the time: when something is a little bit scary, that's how I know that something is worth doing. And I'm really glad I did it. And I think for those of you out there who may be sort of industry leaders, you might want to start thinking about maybe gathering people like this in an environment where you can bring them on, fly them in for a day somewhere and just get together and brainstorm. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, it almost just all took care of itself.
Most business people will go to a conference on a yearly basis, right? Regardless of what industry they're in. The only difference between going to someone else's conference and doing something like this, much smaller, obviously, but the only real difference is that you're the one that has to put in the work to make it happen. You're still going to get to meet a lot of people in the same industry. You're still going to get to bounce ideas off of people, to find out about new products, about new services, new ideas. And I think there's a lot to be said for anybody that's listening, like you say, that could potentially put something like this together for themselves in their own niche.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, that would help your authority and your credibility go up way big. I mean, a lot of people are using right now, Amazon Kindle books to sort of help them separate themselves from everybody else in their industry. Put on a live event like this. This has been incredible. And we had Caleb Wojcik come in, who a lot of filmed a lot of the stuff in my book, Let Go. He came in around 3 p.m. and started filming, just B-roll, and then came in and took testimonials afterwards. And I got to listen to a few of them, or I was overhearing them when they were being filmed, and it was just incredible. And so if you can have other people in your audience talk about you the same way, and you have that video footage, I mean, that's just worth so much.
I can't wait to see that video that he's going to cut.
Yeah,
because he's awesome anyway, right?
Yeah.
So once he cuts it together, I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be great to be able to see what everybody said. It was a great event, and I'm totally looking forward to doing it again at some point.
Yeah, and I mean, think about that. Think about putting your own event. And just to be completely honest, we did make a little bit of money off of this.
But we're entrepreneurs. That's what we do. But in the same, the flip side of that coin is that, just like when you create a good product or a good service, you're going to make money, but you're still solving problems.
Yeah.
For people. And that's like the time-honored legacy of business. Just present a solution to a problem. And in the case of the One Day Business Breakthrough event, the solution to the problem was entrepreneurial loneliness, and the solution was getting these people together so that ends, and so they can take their business journeys up to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're coming up to sort of wrapping up here, and I want to make sure we come around full circle. And I want to start with sort of the dangers of being introverted, because I think that's the root of discovering all the stuff that's available out there when it comes to relationships and what that can do for your business. So there's a quote I heard one time. I don't remember who said it, but it's really interesting. It's the only problem with seeing people is that they know you.
Boom. See, that's what I'm talking about. Because if that's the case, you never take yourself out of your immediate circle of contacts, of people that you know. You can never expand that circle, right?
Right.
Like all of those people that came yesterday, they didn't know each other. Or maybe one or two might have heard of each other or talked to each other once before, but now they've expanded their circle. They know more people now that know them, and they wouldn't have met those people if they didn't come along. So I think, what we should do, actually, and it is a good quote. What can we do? What can we do to break through that shyness and become less introverted. I mean, you and I don't have a major issue with this, but I'm sure...
I did.
Oh, no, you did. You're absolutely right. You did. Yes.
I did. I mean, especially in high school, I was just the type of person who would sit in the back of the class and never raise their hand, and I would only wait for people to talk to me before I started to talk to them, and I was very awkward in conversation. And, even when I was in college and I started to sort of become a little bit of an extrovert just because I was around people I knew, I was still afraid of talking to other people who I didn't know. I was always shy. That's why I didn't go to conferences at first, because I didn't want to put myself in that environment. But there were some things I did that I think helped me get over that fear. And, I could, back to my YouTube videos. I mean, when I started doing that, I wasn't talking to anybody in person, but just talking to a potential audience on video was helping out. And at first, I didn't even put in my face. It was ScreenFlow or Camtasia, recording my screen and talking on my microphone. And the podcast helped too. And I think the podcast interviews helped too. I know a lot of people who have interview shows who, they were a little bit introverted, and they used the interviews, over the podcast to sort of practice, I guess, conversations with people they didn't know.
Yeah, and not to mention every single person that you interview, your circle of contacts there is growing one by one with every episode.
Oh, huge!
Right?
I mean, that's why Srini from Podcast FM I feel like he knows everybody.
Right? No, he does. I'm telling you, he does, because I can stand in a corridor with that guy and stand there for 15 minutes chatting with him, and we'll be interrupted like 20 times. I mean, everybody knows him, and he knows everybody. But then, when you've interviewed 300 odd people or whatever it is, it's going to happen. And he's doing exactly what we've been talking about, is getting yourself out there, hanging out with like-minded people, and getting to the point where, you're talking about this stuff with not just your friends, but also, and those people that you already have relationships with, but other people as well, by extending that circle and becoming friendlier with more and more people.
Yeah, I mean, really, a good thing to do, and this is kind of general, just you got to put yourself in uncomfortable situations so that they do become comfortable eventually.
Right.
I remember Noah Kagan from, again, episode 71. He had this sort of challenge to all the listeners out there. I know some of you already did this. His challenge was, go to Starbucks and just ask for a 10% discount. And there was a couple people who were like, I did this, and I was standing in line and I was sweating, and the person in front of me like made a mistake on their order, so I had to wait even longer, and it was just like nerve-wracking. And then they did it, and it felt so good. And I know a lot of people also were like, well, what's the point of this? But I think the point is, if you are uncomfortable sometimes, you just got to get uncomfortable.
And just because you ask for it doesn't mean you're always going to get it.
Right.
Because you dared me to do this today when we were at Starbucks, right?
Yeah,
and I'll
totally
tell the story because it's a little amusing. So we're in Starbucks, and I go up and I ask for coffee, and then, it's like $8 or whatever it was. And so I turn around and say, well, can I have a discount, please? And the girl initially, she said, what? I said, well, it's a sunny day. I'm English. I'm here in America. And I'd love to have a discount and be really happy today. Is it possible to get a 10% discount? And she said, well, we don't really usually do that. But let me go get my manager. So a manager comes along, and I can see them sort of talking for 30 seconds or something on the side first. And then he comes along and he says, sir, how can I help you? And I said, yes, I'd like to get a discount, please.
Yes.
If it's possible. And he said, well, we don't do discounts. I said, yeah, but, and I repeated the whole thing, I did my best English Hugh Grant accent to try and impress the guy here in America. And it didn't work. And he turned around and he said, well, it's great and everything, but we don't do discounts. However, we do smiles. And I said, well, what do you mean smiles? And his entire face lit up. He showed me 35 teeth. And then he said, welcome to the United States of America, sir. That was just awesome.
That's such a good story.
Didn't get a discount, but I got a smile.
And a great story.
And a cool story to tell to thousands of people tuning in right now.
Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. So, big takeaways from this is, get uncomfortable, put yourselves in situations where you're actually meeting people, because it could potentially change your life. And go to conferences, get in a mastermind group, and just put yourselves in a situation where you get to meet these people who are in a similar position as yourself, that can ultimately build up, your business and just to help you take things to the level, and then beyond that, finding that sort of one or two people who you can really connect with, who you can build that, beyond business relationship with, just like with what I have with Chris here.
Yeah, and likewise. And let me tell you, it was a pleasure doing that event with you yesterday. We have talked about, doing something together for on and off, the last couple of years or so. I'm glad that we didn't do anything up until this point, and that it was this particular event and this particular activity that we did together as partners to, it was awesome, man.
Yeah, totally.
It was great.
I wouldn't have come up with the idea without you. I wouldn't have probably done it like we did without you. So, again, just the importance of having these kinds of people in your life. It's crazy.
It's awesome. And to the 25 people that came out yesterday, once again, thank you for coming along and spending time with us. It was really good to meet you all.
Yeah, absolutely fulfilling for me. Oh, wait. I didn't know how, is that the end?
Yeah.
No. So those of you listening out there, that was a really awkward, if we just ended there and then the music came on.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. It would have been almost as awesome as your little whispering one.
Dude, I get so many tweets. Somebody tweeted today, it was like, I nearly fell off the treadmill. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just listen to episode 68. Anyway, thank you again, Chris, for coming on the SPI podcast, for sitting here in my office and spending time with me and my family while you're here. That's just so awesome. Good luck to you on your presentation at the National Speakers Association in Philadelphia. And for those of you out there, you can find Chris at
chrisducker.com. It's very original.
It is. You've done a great job with personal branding lately.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
So, yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you in episode 75. I don't think there's really going to be any show notes for this one, but if you want to go to the blog post and leave a comment, you can go to smartpassiveincome.com/session74, and I'm sure both Chris and I would agree. We would love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
All right, take care. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
I get it. You want to grow your business, but selling at scale feels overwhelming. You're drowning in complicated funnels, creating different lead magnets, or constantly posting on social media. And that gets exhausting fast, especially when you're trying to sell to hundreds or thousands of people. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? A score app quiz or assessment asks your audience key questions and gives them instant personalized results based on their answers. Your audience gets to know where they are now and shows them the steps they need to hit their goals. You can set up a quiz in minutes using Score App's templates and have a powerful lead magnet that'll do the selling for you. The best part is your audience actually wants to take this quiz, and you build huge amounts of trust before you even make a single offer. No hard sales, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. Just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Have you dreamt about being your own boss, but still haven't made the first steps to making that dream a reality? Well, I get that. Starting a business can feel super overwhelming with legal forms, paperwork, finances. It's a lot. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Taylor Brands. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal assets and the business assets separate from day one. From there, you get access to everything you need to get off the ground. Legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program, all designed to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free, personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, listeners of this show get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. All you have to do is head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands.